Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rotoworld Football Show. I am Patrick Daugerty, joined by Denny Carter. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, Week 8. We used to say this was the midway point, but then they added a 17th game. 17, maybe the ugliest number there is. Just an awful number. 19, also quite bad. 15's good. 15's good. 13 has some lore behind it. 17 and 19, totally awful. So it's not the midway point of the season. But we have a lot to talk about. We have the Bucs. I was going to say winning, but they didn't come close to winning. They lost 24-9 to the Detroit Football Lions. They lost Mike Evans yet again, a broken collarbone. A lot going on with the Bucs. Not as much going on with the Lions. We'll break down both teams. A lot going on with the Houston Texans, who lost the nightcap 27-19. None of it good. Although, Denny, did you stay up for the end of this game, by the way?
What do you think? I got to halftime and I was like, nope.
So I did. And the game, I desperately wanted, move on with my life, like start getting ready for bed, for instance. And it was the most zombie, fourth quarter of ever. The Seahawks could not put the Texans away. Every time the Texans got the ball, nothing happened, but they just kept getting the ball back instantly. The zombie Texans would not go away. They eventually did go away, 27-19. We'll talk about that. We'll look ahead to Vikings-Chargers Thursday evening, where, listen, I don't know. Not to be smart. JJ McCarthy's ankle sprain. There's never been a higher ankle sprain in the history.
It's getting higher as the days go on.
It's getting so high. They're now talking about starting undrafted rookie Max Brosmer, who I think is 25 years old. Because it goes without saying, Carson Wentz, his body's splintering apart. He's just going down in a hail of battlefield glory. He is all torn up. Doesn't seem like he's going to be able to play on the short week. So we'll preview Vikings. We'll preview the Chargers. A lot going on with the Chargers, too. But first, Denny, we're going to preview the NBA is back. And it's not only back, it's finally back where it belongs, the National Broadcasting Corporation. Growing up, the NBA and NBC were totally synonymous. Marv Albert, then Bob Costas, then Michael Jordan. Denny winning the Fell For It Again award every year, thinking the Bulls might actually lose. Denny, the one person in America who rooted for the Utah Jazz.
I did twice.
Denny rooted for the Utah Jazz twice. Literally unconscionable, unbelievable, unfathomable. The one team ever you needed a front run and you failed. You did not do that, but yeah, it's back on NBC. Denny, people don't know this. Denny and I actually have some office space in Stamford, Connecticut, where NBC Sports is based. They've given that to John Tesh, and we said that's fine. That's fine.
And I'm fine.
Yeah, it's fine. He needs to be in there working on Round Ball Rock remixes and updates and spinoffs.
He has 8 keyboards in the office.
He does. So John Tesh is there. NBA and NBC is back. Guess who's not back, though, in Matthew Berry's Fantasy Basketball League? Very curious. Denny Carter couldn't take the heat, so he got out of the kitchen. What's going on there?
Yeah, I decided to give up my spot in the Matthew Berry Fantasy Football Happy Hour League because I quit last year after about 10 days. So I got auto drafted, and when you're auto drafted Kawhi Leonard, your fantasy basketball life is over. I mean, he was injured to start the season and he never plays anyway. I would have to hire someone to track of when Kawhi Leonard is going to be active for a game. So as soon as I saw Kawhi Leonard on my team, I was like, well, I ain't reading all this. So I don't know if I won a game last year. I never checked. And I just felt like that wasn't fair. So I exited. I pulled that ripcord. I will say, though, this allows me to enjoy and the NBA on NBC in a more traditional, pure way. I won't be rooting for players. I will be rooting for the game of basketball itself.
That's interesting. So a few quick things. Denny didn't actually quit. He was forced out for John Tesh. John Tesh has taken his spot in the league. Denny, I don't know if you knew this. This is not a joke. Kawhi Leonard is good again. He's trying again.
Really?
It seems like he's actually going to play back-to-back games this season. He was real Kawhi during the playoffs last year for the most part. He's back.
Is he under federal investigation?
Maybe.
Okay.
But maybe. I actually haven't read the updates on that in a while, but Kawhi is back. And also fantasy basketball is back. They're trying a new thing called high score. We did a high score draft last night. I frankly don't understand the rules yet. I'm told they're very straightforward and much easier to understand than traditional fantasy basketball. So check out High Score Fantasy Basketball, very similar to Best Ball.
Okay.
Some elements of redraft, more elements of Best Ball. It's worth Googling, I would say, but it's worth talking about football on this show. Tampa Bay Bucks. This isn't really a fell for it again award because they had been working. I was the only person in my confidence points pool, Denny, to pick the Bucks. I was like, the Lions, golf, like this whole thing.
Oh man, you should have talked to me, man.
I know you probably would have enabled. Would you have enabled me or talked me out of it?
No, I would have talked you out of the Bucks. Bucks are not good.
I thought you. That's the Lions. You're describing the Lions.
No. The Lions are for real. The Bucks are just like it's just Baker Mayfield just playing Superman every week. Nobody else.
Yeah, that's the opposite of smoke and mirrors. It's someone actually playing quarterback in the NFL.
All right. I mean, I'm not trying to take away Baker Mayfield's performance. He's carrying the team single-handedly. That's all I'm saying.
He is carrying it single-handedly. Even more true now than it was yesterday is the Bucks. They had Mike Evans back for the first time since week 3. He made it a few snaps, seemed to have a humongous downfield catch.
Yeah.
Then in like a bizarre, scary scene, he hits the field hard, but players seem to hit the field that hard every snap, every play. Seemed innocuous, especially for a guy as tough as Mike Evans, but went into a ball, was just clearly very, very hurt. A broken collarbone, I think also a concussion. Mm-hmm. Really, really unfortunate stuff. They think his season is probably done. It's not official, but 2 months is about what it takes for a broken collarbone, especially if you're trying to withstand NFL hits. His year is probably done. We don't know what's going on with Chris Godwin. Emeka Egbuka playing through a hamstring injury. Seemed like he avoided further complications last night. He's probably okay. The Bucs, though, going on bye in week 9. So I don't know if that means Chris Godwin will play this week or not. All of this is just my long way of saying things are really messed up in the Bucs receiver core. They have been all year. What is the state of play in Tampa's receiver core?
Just real quick on the Mike Evans thing. Very weird for Joe and Buck. No, I'm sorry, not Joe and Buck. So for Joe and Troy to wonder if Mike Evans had injured his hamstring again.
That was
as he lied on the ground.
It was a bit
strange. I thought whatever's going on there, it's not a hamstring, guys. So
strange. Can't win them all.
Yeah, weird one there. I mean, Emeka Egbuka season all day long from here on out. Everybody knows that. I will tell you that Cardio K. Dotton is shedding that label of late. He led the team in routes against the Lions last night. He saw 9 targets, partly due to game script, but whatever. He has a 22% target per route run over his past 3 games. That's really strong for a tight end. It's even stronger for Cardio Cade, who's usually like around 10%. So that's awesome.
I don't know how many times I can listen to Cardio Cade for a player. By the way, I have to fact check you. You said during our VOD that Cardio Cade had never had fantasy. He had fantasy value last year. I literally traded for him in our Dynasty League as a George Kittle hedge.
Yeah.
And then he immediately stopped producing. But he had one burst of production before. He's in the midst of another burst of production.
Yeah, I mean, he's relevant for sure. Tez Johnson ran 74% of the routes last night. Saw 20% of the team's air yards. Profiles is kind of a high variance wide receiver 3 or 4, I guess, with Mike Evans out. Sterling Shepard, his profile is not as pretty. He ran a lot of routes, like 70%. But he had an ADOT of 2.9 against the Lions. So I don't know if there's a lot of like statistical juice to squeeze from Shepard. Tez Johnson to me is much more interesting.
Dang, you know what's insane? While you were talking, I had the thoughts, all offseason, like, why did they draft Emeka Egbuka? It wasn't quite that strong. People thought he was a good player. You draft good players, but didn't seem like a position of need for the Bucs wide receiver. While you were talking, I was almost like, I wonder, are like the Bucs gonna make a trade for a receiver? Because they really should. I feel like this team is oriented around Baker chucking it down the field. It's just Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, Sterling Shepard. This is not going to work. They need another Chris Godwin. We have no idea what's going on there. I feel like the Bucs should be considered a dark horse. The Bucs should trade for Rachaad Shaheed, by the way, who they're playing.
Yeah. That actually would be pretty interesting. I mean, you combine Shaheed with a guy who will just launch it like no matter what, and Baker. That could be fun.
What about the Bucs and Jacoby Myers? They need a receiver. Like this is not working. This is not going to work for me, dog.
I mean, maybe you get Myers in a place where he actually wants to play, and things will look different for him.
That would be key.
I guess that's the upside scenario.
Who would you call the priority Bucs pass catcher after Ibuka, without knowing Godwin's status? Not including Godwin, I guess. Is it Cade Otton right now, or is it Tez?
It's Cade Otton, and I say that because I don't want to say Tez Johnson, and then people go out and they get a 0 from him in week 8 or whatever. Like,
very plausible scenario.
Yeah, he's gonna often like have a ton of air yards, 100 air yards, something around that. And when it hits, it'll be cool, and then when it doesn't, you'll feel like an idiot. Ibuka's going to dominate. I mean, he could see like JSN sort of air yards domination here, 40+%, I'd say, with Godwin and Evans out.
So yeah, the Bucs, as I mentioned, they're playing the Saints this week. Then they head on bye in week 9. Translation, like I don't know, we're probably not getting Bucky Irving back this week, even though. Boy, I don't know if they can possibly fit another Christmas traditions or Spirit Halloween in my backyard. But if Bucky is not back this week, like they're building a Christmas tradition superstore in my backyard.
They have the Spirit Halloween checkout register right outside my bedroom now. I mean, it's a little much. I'm having trouble sleeping. The constant ringing of the cashier. It's just too much.
Dollar Zone is muscling in on my side yard. Like it's very bad. I need Bucky to play this week, but it doesn't. I doubt it's going to happen. We'll keep you updated on that situation, of course, on Rotoworld.com. This is a very long preamble to say Rachaad White has had a lot of runway, a lot of snaps, a lot of touches the past 3 games. Is it fair to say, though, he still has not done nearly enough of that work to make us concerned for Bucky Irving's workload when Bucky finally comes back?
It was pretty funny last night that Rachaad White's first carry, he just puts his helmet down and just crushes a Lions defender. He looks like Earl Campbell out of nowhere. And then a few carries later, I should say, he's just stiff armed someone like prime Derrick Henry. And I'm like, what got into this guy? Like, I mean, he's fine, but like this is wild. Anyway, no, he's been bad.
He's been quite bad. Yeah.
3.5 yards per carry. 1.5 yards after contact per rush. That ranks 49th out of 57 qualifying running backs over that stretch. He's a replacement level guy. He can get you by. I mean, you've been pretty happy to have him as a plug and play.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think Bucky will return to his rightful place as the clear RB1 when he's ready.
What was up with Sean Tucker being a best ball bro folk hero over the summer? Because he's not done absolutely. He's not done anything with Bucky Irving sidelined. Quite bleak.
It's remarkable, actually. I mean, they must just not trust him. I think it does come down to a matter of trust sometimes with these running backs. We see that with Travion Henderson. Clearly, the Patriots have no trust in that guy.
Yeah, this is breaking, but the Patriots have released Travion. No, that's a joke.
No,
sorry. No, sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
that was mean. Yeah,
Travion Henderson, depending on the rest of the season goes, in the running for the worst fantasy pick of my lifetime.
It's funny because a lot of years, like RJ Harvey would be running away with the title of worst fantasy pick, and not even in the discussion. Not even Travion Henderson exists this year.
I mean, Travion Henderson, he's not playable. He's not rosterable in 10-team leagues.
Not at this point, no.
And I guess you can hang on for dear life in 12-team leagues, but let me tell you, Stevenson goes down. Vrabel's looking for somebody else.
I know. Terrell Jennings, he's already been anointed the 5-minute back, aka the back who can actually carry the ball.
All right, forget it. Just drop this guy everywhere.
So, not to get us too far afield here, though. Looking back, so not trying to toot my own horn, I did not draft these 2 players. I didn't necessarily think it was a terrible idea, but Travion and RJ Harvey were bad process, right? Like, I feel like there's disastrous process when you really zoom out and look at it.
Well, RJ Harvey I thought was very good process.
He was way better process than Travion.
Until they signed J.K. Dobbins, and then it looked like terrible process.
Even then, he was better process than Travion.
I agree. And the Harvey thing felt like a slam dunk then they got one look at him and they were like, no, we need like a veteran who knows what he's doing.
His camp reports were bad. Uniformly bad. Yeah.
That went under the radar. I feel like maybe we, I should have raised the alarms a little bit.
You kind of did. You actually did on RJRV.
Everything I read during even like the spring practices was.
You mentioned this several times on the show.
Okay, well then good. I did my job. I told you not to. I still have him in best ball everywhere, and you got a touchdown out of him in week 7. I don't hear anybody talking about that.
Travion, I just thought I was being paranoid, but my whole thing with Travion is like Josh McDaniels is the ultimate hardo. Like he's gonna make Travion, not to mention Mike Vrabel. Like they're gonna make him jump through 4,000 hoops trying to quote unquote earn their trust. But then I was like, whatever, man. He's top 40 pick. Like, don't be paranoid. Like that's why I didn't feel like too uncomfortable with people drafting Travion Henderson. But it just my dark vision came completely to fruition. Like, oh, sorry. He's failed his Patriots driver's test like 42 times.
Yeah. Right.
So,
I thought, oh, okay, James White. I remember this. But it didn't work out.
Anyways, enough about the New England Patriots who have absolutely nothing to do with Lions Bucks. Denny, is David Montgomery fading from RB2 relevance? It's been kind of a weird year, even for Jahmyr Gibbs, but he finally heated all the way back up. Even as Jahmyr have been posting some shaky box scores, though, have not been getting much from David Montgomery. Awful game, obviously, last night. 13 carries for 21 yards. It's only 4 for 24 the week before. He's been under 30 yards 3 of the past 4 weeks. You know, guy will run a little hot and cold since his usage ceiling is hard capped. 6 teams on bye this week, so pretty difficult to get David Montgomery outside the top 24. But like in a vacuum, do you even consider David Montgomery a top 24 running back, aka an RB2?
Yes, I think this week. Just because
for sure this week, the bye apocalypse is very real.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the season-long number. I know the last 2 weeks have been tough. Season-long numbers: 11 rushes per game for David Montgomery. He has 57% of the Lions inside the 5 rushing attempts to 43% for Gibbs. He's averaging like 10.5 expected fantasy points per game. It's fine, but yeah, I mean, he's struggling. I've also read some film knowers' takes on how the Lions offense is operating, and they're being very predictable with the Montgomery usage. Like if he's on the field and Goff is under center, then Montgomery's getting the ball and everybody knows it. And I don't think that's helping his cause at all. His production is being buoyed by that game against Baltimore where he went off, partly due to the Ravens allowing him to score a 20-yard touchdown. I'm not being facetious. I mean, that's just how.
No, you are. No, you haven't gotten over that.
I mean, it's remarkable. I don't think I've seen that, but so yeah. I mean, you don't feel great starting him, but Gibbs clearly has finally taken over. It should have been done a long time ago. Probably
should have been done a long time. You know what's interesting too is to see kind of the Lions backfield lose the character we had gotten used to under Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. And then at long last, Ben Johnson, weeks 1 and 2, massive calamity with the Bears. JJ McCarthy looked good. And then, 52-21 to the Lions. But then kind of like down low. It's hard for anything to be down low with the Chicago Bears. But like they've been playing much better. He's amping up the run game. It's unfortunately Ben Johnson looks like there's nothing fake about his sharpness.
No,
very, very, very sharp. And I kind of honestly, I hate him. I kind of like his hardo vibes. Like really? He seems like unlike Josh McDaniels, I feel like he earns like his no excuses attitude. And I feel like he's getting belief and buy-in a little bit. So I'm kind of coming around on hardo. Ben Johnson.
This is a shocking development to me. I feel like you've been a Ben Johnson skeptic for a while.
My friends and family are very concerned. Our friend Kyle Dvorak is extremely concerned about our Jameson Williams shares. In fact, gleefully texting me about it before I even wake up. That's not a joke. I woke up to a text of Kyle basically, "Where's your God nowing me?" on Jameson Williams. And
he actually wired me money this morning.
And my Jameson Williams God has definitely deserted me. Yet another no-show. 0 catches. Denny, is it getting to the point where we can't even rely on Jameson Williams as a wide receiver 3? Or is this a highly volatile player and what is still a very good offense? You have to keep trusting the boom-bust process with Jameson Williams. What do you say?
I honestly don't think he can be considered a wide receiver 3. I'll tell you why. So he ran all the routes basically against the Bucs. He saw 2 targets. He saw 20% of the air yards. On the season, he's been targeted on only 15% of his routes. That's just abysmal. And here's a sort of an illustration of his place in the Detroit offense. Okay. Jameson Williams has 20 first read targets this season. Okay. That ranks 81st among all pass catchers in the league, below guys like Tyquan Thornton and Jake Tungus. He's just not part of the plan. He's not, like, if he happens to get loose in the secondary, maybe he scores a touchdown or he has a long gain, and that's cool. But he's just not part of the plan. There's also like the structural element of the Detroit offense that's bad for Jameson Williams. I should have thought about this strongly before drafting him on every team. The Lions have the 3rd fewest air yards in the league right now, like total air yards, right? And they're 28th in pass rate over expected. It's hard when you have a dominant guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown to compete with. It's just hard to get there, even as a wide receiver 3, when you have that number of air yards to go around. It's not much.
I will say, I feel like that's got to be way down from what it was last year. And I guess we underrated is how different the offense could look without Ben Johnson. And this is a phrase we would normally use, speaking of facetiously, but he might just call Jameson Williams a Ben Johnson merchant. Like, sure. Ben Johnson knew how to scheme him the good looks that were both good for him and good for the team. John Morton, for whatever reason, is not doing that. And what I would say, last bit of JMO copium hopium, is Lions are on bye for week 8. You'd have to imagine, as they assess their going forward prospects, starting to eye up the NFC playoffs, they're going to come to the conclusion, like, they need more from Jameson Williams. Like, we got to get JMO going. And that maybe coming out of the bye, we'll see some different Jameson Williams usage, better fantasy usage, and that something might happen playing the Vikings in week 9. But week 9 will be an extremely critical, kind of like do or die moment, I feel like, for Jameson. Like, if they come out of the bye and it's the same thing, then it's real trouble.
Yeah. He's also game script dependent. I knew I was playing you in one league, and I had Jameson Williams, and you were sneaking up on me pretty good there. I think I ended up winning by like 2 points. And I got a 0 from JMO, and I knew I had
Amon-Ra in that league.
Yeah, you have Amon-Ra and McLaughlin. I was getting a little nervous, especially after I texted "Where's your God now?" on Sunday.
You did "Where your God now" me on Sunday
when I was up 60. As soon as I did that, I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?"
You actually should never do that.
You should never do that.
I'm unfortunately like hyper superstitious, and I never do that for pure superstition reasons. I do not.
I need to be more stitious about that, but I knew I was getting a 0 when the Lions got up by 2 scores. It's over. Like, JMO's not going to be involved from here. Like, you need the Lions to be chasing, and they don't chase a whole lot, so that's a problem.
Maybe they'll chase against the Vikings week 10. Then it's the Commanders. Maybe they'll chase against the Eagles in week 11. But JMO going to be on the spot coming out of that bye. We're on that spot right now. We've been talking a long time about this game. Time for us to take a short break and be right back after this. It is finally here. The NBA is back on NBC, and the season tips off with a doubleheader tonight, Tuesday. First, watch the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder face Kevin Durant, long ago Thunder player, and the Houston Rockets. Then it's a clash on the West Coast when Luka Doncic and the Lakers host Steph Curry and the Warriors. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock.
Can I say one thing about Steph Curry?
Please.
I watched him play golf on YouTube the other day. It's just not fair. It's just not fair for a guy to be the greatest shooter of all time, and to be able to step up to a par 4, I believe it was, and knock it on the green and sink an eagle putt on video, like on the first take.
On video is very key there.
I mean, what? It's just, he's an absurdly good golfer.
Steph is a special person.
Yeah,
just like he's the classic, like if he had wanted to be like an indie rocker, he would have, Steph Curry would be a legend.
Could have done it.
And he wanted to be a basketball player. I can't figure out why he wanted to be a basketball player other than being the perfect size, the perfect shooter, and a father who played in the NBA. But beyond that, I don't know how he arrived on that. But my favorite ever basketball player golf story, by the way, I might butcher some of the details of this. I'm looking over my bookshelf. It was in a book I read. The 1992 Dream Team, Michael Jordan, they stayed up all night playing dominoes. This is not a joke. Stayed up all night playing dominoes. Apparently had a 6 a.m. tee time. Played not only 18 holes of golf, played 36 holes of golf. This was on a game day in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. Apparently they never slept and then went out and scored like 40 points against some European team. It was one of the craziest stories.
The amount of energy you have to be able to pull that off is almost indescribable. Like, I know, like folks who don't play golf, like, so what? They play golf for 36 holes. You try, go ahead, go play 36 holes of golf, and then come to me and tell me, are you tired? I think the answer will be, I'm so tired. Just drag me off of this course. Get me to bed.
They had to drag the Houston Texans and Seattle Seahawks off the field Monday night. It was a dismal game. Very, very dreary, very dull, very, very late. Yeah, late even for the West Coasters. I know it was a normal time, but they're used to their games being over like 8:30. You're keeping them up at Lumen Field till 10:30.
Yeah,
it was this uncharted territory. This game would not end. Like, I can't even overemphasize the degree to which this game would not end. Like, all right, the Seahawks, like Chris Fowler, all right, Seahawks now opportunity for the kill shot, and they go 3 and out. And then, well, the Texans, one play, they can be right back, and they're punting. They fumbled. Like the game would not end. It was. Oh man,
D'Amico's got to look strongly into the analytics, man. What's going on there?
What's going on with any of these guys, man? Like CJ. First, okay, we were going to start. We'll start with CJ Stroud.
Okay.
Give us the details. He's flunking the eye test about as spectacularly as you possibly could.
Yeah.
How grisly are the advanced stats and the analytics on CJ Stroud's play?
I have a lot here, but mostly we're still seeing the dart-like throwing.
I can't unsee it ever since you said it.
Yeah, the dart-like throwing where he's just wishing the ball. By the way, we're having a different conversation today. If Nico Collins doesn't drop what would have been a 55-yard touchdown.
Can I tell you what my post said on that, by the way? That was Brian Thomas Jr. copyright infringement.
Oh, it was. It also,
was bad.
Let me tell you something about my DFS teams. They needed that bad. Anyway, so that we're having a different conversation, but it is what it is. Stroud, struggling on all levels. He ranks 23rd out of 30 qualifying quarterbacks in accuracy on intermediate throws. It was an area where he really, in 2023, he excelled as a rookie on those throws. He's been really bad for 2 years on those intermediate throws. Only Geno and Tua have a lower adjusted yards per attempt on intermediate passes. That's saying something, because those two are, as you know, quite bad right now. So he's been terrible.
Geno Smith still play, by the way.
Look, I'm afraid of the Geno Hive. I live in fear. I feel like the Geno Hive needs to give up the ghost at this point.
I think it's been given up for them, even if they don't want it to be. I think Geno ended any and all discussion on Sunday. We digress.
He disbanded the Hive. I don't know.
He did. He ended the fan club. The URL now redirects to an ad for like a protein smoothie. It's been disbanded.
Oh man, I don't. Yeah. So anyway, back to Stroud. He's been pretty terrible under pressure. 13% under his expected completion rate when pressured. That's the worst in the league by a huge margin. He's been decent on deep shots. I'll spare you all the gory details here, but they should try more of that. Just throwing it downfield. He's a pretty good downfield thrower. This is a boring offense, pretty predictable. The Texans rank 27th in play action usage, 25th in motion usage. Like, teams know what's coming. You could just watch last night's game and you can see the Seahawks defense know exactly what was about to happen. And that means that a guy like Stroud I feel like doesn't really have a chance. Stroud's not special. I don't think, he's not elite, and he never will be. He definitely can manage an offense. He definitely can be a top half starter in certain situations, right? Not like this though. So the structure of the offense is pretty poor, and he can't overcome that. For fantasy, I guess super flex only at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Man, Stroud, it's just bad. I feel like he could have been a poor man's Justin Herbert in a different football life, and maybe he still could, but he's got problems of his own. It's kind of like the Dolphins, where they have horrible structural problems with the roster. Like many Texans fans, you will see lamenting, why did we trade Laramie Tunsil again? Not that Laramie Tunsil is some elite player, but the team does not block. Yet another unproven offensive coordinator, which whatever. There's only so much you can do when the line's terrible, when the quarterback's struggling, but you could be a part of the solution. Nick Caley does not appear to be a part of the solution. Just another part of a larger problem. Yeah, I just don't.
It's funny.
It's not getting better.
Like, you and I can see that in 2023, when he was very successful, there was a lot of under center play action stuff, and he was good at that. Much. And now there's hardly any of it, like I just mentioned about the play action rate, and he's in shotgun constantly, and he's not good in shotgun.
He's really, really abnormally bad in shotgun.
I don't get why the Texans are being so stubborn about this offense and about this usage. It ain't working. It hasn't worked in a long time. Like, this isn't new. It's frustrating because I like you. I think Stroud can actually be pretty good. It's
pretty unfortunate. DeMeco Ryans has done enough to keep his job, where doing his job on the side of the ball. The Texans defense has never been the problem. When DeMeco Ryans there, seemingly by all accounts a good leader, but the franchises live and die with the quarterback. It almost just seems like it might be time for the Texans. They need to make a head coach hire who's also a quarterback's coach. Like, it's that type of situation. Because even if you make the right offensive coordinator hire next year, finally, they'll be immediately poached away. And CJ Stroud has proven, he's not going to carry it by himself. He needs a coordinator, a quarterback's coach doing it hand in hand. And the Texans might have to make a really difficult decision this offseason.
I like DeMeco Ryans as a coach, as a game manager, as a fourth down decision maker. It almost doesn't get worse.
Yeah, not as bad. Not as bad.
No, I mean, you're at midfield, down multiple scores at 4th and 5, and you punt. No, that's just, it's not 1989. You have to go for that.
Real quick, too. Not real quick. CJ Stroud, one problem, Nico Collins is not doing anything. He's caught more than 4 passes one time all year. That seems absolutely stunning. Would have had a 5th last night if he had not dropped the aforementioned 55-yard touchdown. Now he's concussed. Nico Collins, again, 6 teams on bye this week, so whatever. Is he no longer set and forget wide receiver 1? I don't think I've had him outside the top 12 all year. It seems like it might be time to change that.
36% air yard share, 23% target share. Those are not, not like locked in wide receiver 1 type rates. Last year was cool for Nico Collins, and even like the most ardent Nico Collins apologist or supporter would say he got away with it. You can't live on constant 65-yard touchdowns. You just can't.
Mike Evans begs to differ.
I guess, maybe a little. I would say Mike Evans eventually during his career got involved in shorter area stuff, especially with Tom Brady and now Mayfield. But so it's going to run hot and cold. He's way. I think Nico Collins coming into the season, and I remember thinking this when I would, think, should I draft him? Should I draft Ladd McConkey? The answer was neither. The answer was just don't draft anyone.
Just don't play.
Just don't.
Just Bucky Irving apparently wrong. Puka Nacua even wrong now. Garrett Wilson wrong. Just
wrong. Wrong. Everybody's wrong. No one. The only right answer. There are 2 right answers. It was CMC and it was Jonathan Taylor, and everybody else was wrong.
That's right, man. The CMC thing. What a joke.
I just kept thinking, Nico Collins has the profile of someone who I don't want to rely on as my wide receiver one. And I think that that's come to fruition with the concussion now. He may miss time. You're not going to get what you thought you were going to get out of him, obviously.
Short week. So, yeah, he's going to be in a lot of trouble to get cleared for Sunday against the 49ers. But, I don't know, they seem to race players back from concussions way more than they did over the past 10 years. The concussion culture is changing again. So, I have no idea what's going to go on with Nico Collins this week. Keep it locked to rotoworld.com. We've kept it locked to the Seahawks backfield all year. And just to talk about a classic, there remain no winners.
No.
Neither running back's doing well. Both online hives are in shambles. Kyle's going on the internet responding to 2-month-old tweets. It's just, which to be fair, we were right. We were right, as Kyle was reminding people on the internet last night. And anything changing, shaking loose, or KW3 and Zach Charbonnet just looks like a forever war with no separation.
Well, the important thing for this backfield is that only one guy is seeing inside the 5 touches, and that's Zach Charbonnet. We saw that last night. Because
they know that if they gave it to Kenneth Walker there, he would somehow roll the ball out of bounds like a bowling ball and just not score. He does inexplicable, crazy things, I feel like.
I benched Charbs against you, and I will never forgive myself. Somehow I didn't play him over Tyler Algier. I'm sick. I have a sickness, Pat. Anyway, Ken Walker actually, obviously led with 17 rushing attempts against Houston. Charbonnet had 12, but most of Walker's work was between the 20s. It's just not that valuable. So the high leverage stuff is going to Charbonnet, and that's really what matters right now. But it's an ugly split. And both guys are going to be touchdown dependent. And if you don't get that touchdown, or in the case of Charbonnet last night, 2 touchdowns, your box score is going to look ugly, and you're going to feel pretty dumb.
Could not have said it better myself. Anything poetic to say on the Texans backfield? So Woody Marks still in the flex mix. It's been a rocky road for Woody Marks ever since he was hyped by the fantasy community, very much including myself.
I have a film take. Woody Marks burst through a hole last night in the offensive line in a way that reminded me of Jamal Charles. And I thought, oh my goodness, he didn't do anything else the rest of the game. I'm talking nothing. Okay. That was like an 11-yard rush. He ended up averaging 1.5 yards per carry. I have the stats somewhere here, and I'm just struggling to find them.
Only had 10 carries for 15 yards. So literally 1.5 yards per carry.
So Mark saw 10 of 15 running back carries. Nick Chubb's not a thing anymore. Mark's caught 3 of 5 targets. That's okay. But he only ran a route on 23 of 55 dropbacks for the Texans. We need that to be more. We would need that, we need to see an increase there. I wanted to note that Houston running backs overall are seeing 16% of the team's targets. If he could see all of that, he could be somewhat interesting for deeper league purposes. But it's an ugly offense, and as long as Chubb is in there too, and maybe even vulture him on touchdowns, I don't know if Marks is going to be a thing.
And Chubb could still see bigger workloads if the Texans are ever dictating the pace of play, like they somehow did against the Ravens. I guess Lamar was out in week 5, but not going to be dictating the pace of play probably against the 49ers. Probably not against the Broncos, although that game could be weird. I think got a lot of weird games. Broncos, Jaguars, Titans, those could be slogs. But you're not starting Nick Chubb. And harder to start Woody Marks than we would like right now in fantasy. Hard to leave this game behind. But, I'm actually super psyched to leave behind Texans-Seahawks and never think about it again. We'll be right back after this to preview Vikings-Chargers. Sunday night, Aaron Rodgers faces Green Bay for the first time in his career as the Steelers host Jordan Love and the Packers. And don't forget to get the day started with Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher, Lawrence Jackson, and George Savarickas at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fantasy Football Pregame, which will be live this week from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Didn't know they were shipping the boys to Pittsburgh. That'll be worth checking out.
Yeah.
Really be a wild scene there, too. I do wish this game were in Green Bay.
That would be better.
Yeah. That'd be way, way better. By the way, be better for the Vikings. We'll talk about I didn't actually have this on the sheet, or did I? I did. I was to say about Aaron Jones. Apparently, Aaron Jones, it was practice window, finally designated to return today. We'll maybe talk about that at the end of the show. But we can't start talking about this game without talking about the Vikings quarterback situation. It's gotten so dire that ESPN's Kevin Seifert is reporting they could now potentially start 24-year-old undrafted free agent Max Brosmer. Who, for somehow, everyone comes up in the summer somehow. Like, kept coming up in the summer. I don't know if it was Film Bros or Prospect guys. Like, he came up, they liked him. Yeah. Again, the JJ McCarthy high ankle sprain, it's now spread to his other ankle. And I don't know. I mean, this is a farce.
It's the biggest farce ever.
It's a farce. It's a complete farce. Like he was active for week 7 is how big of a farce it was. It was the emergency third quarterback, so he's technically a scratch, but he could have played. It's a farce. But Carson Wentz, as I mentioned, he's hurt everywhere. He has absolutely no arm strength left. It's actually kind of poignant almost. Like he goes out there like, I can do this, and then he can't do it. So this a chaotic, crazy, insane quarterback situation. I don't even know what to tell people. What are you going to tell them on the short week?
Yeah,
play the Chargers.
This one last job for Carson Wentz has gone as poorly as many one last jobs go.
Well, yeah, this is like the one last job. Like you said, there wasn't going to be any security. Like, what the hell? There's cops everywhere here, man. This is a joke. Like Teddy got shot. He got shot. You know what that means?
I mean,
that's how the Carson Wentz last job.
And the equivalent, football equivalent, is Carson Wentz took 3 of the hardest hits I've ever seen.
He really did. He really did.
I don't even know how he got up. I credit to him for being so tough. And they still wouldn't put McCarthy in.
It was quite something. It was quite something.
Oh my gosh. Can someone, I'm begging someone in Vikings media, you guys do a great job. Can you dig into this and get the truth?
Well, yes, they didn't. Remember reporting like where people just wouldn't go along with like an obvious farce.
I know,
like, can't someone put him on the spot about like this is a joke?
I'm telling you, there are a handful of Vikings reporters. I believe in you guys. Go get it. Go get the truth. Blow this thing wide open. There was no ankle injury. None.
No, I listen. We shouldn't say that. I think I agree with you, but
all right. So anyway, Brosmer starts. Brosmer. They call him the Bros.
The Bros.
I don't know. I just made that up, but I mean, I don't know. It's over for for everyone. Like, I honestly think it's just going to be Wentz again. No, it's actually, it's not over because this is a quarterback friendly system that can make the EPA machine go burr no matter who's in there, except for JJ McCarthy. Anybody can do it in this offense, except I want to be clear here for JJ McCarthy. So Brosmer, I think you're still starting Addison. You're still starting obviously Jefferson. Throw in Hawkinson maybe as a short area guy.
With Max Brosmer in his first career start, you're just saying obviously Addison and Hawkinson. I think it's going to be Wentz. Is my gut feel. It's going to be Wentz, and he's going to be on a short leash. Like they're seeing like he can like walk. Basically, like
I'm telling you, look,
that guy's got to be sore. It's Tuesday. He's got to be sore still.
Nick Mullins, I don't know what he's doing with his life right now, but he was fantasy viable in this offense like 2 years ago. It's
not a joke.
So I feel like the Bras could also do that. I mean, Josh Dobbs was a thing.
The Pastronaut.
I mean, until he wasn't. Who was the one guy? Who was the other guy that year that just couldn't do it? He was a young guy.
I'll look at him.
Yeah. We can't. No way to know, but he was horrible. Anyway, so I think I'm going to say it. You start your guys. You start your Vikings.
You're forgotten. Oh my God, you're forgotten. 2023, Vikings quarterback was Jaron Hall.
Jaron Hall.
Boy, did our guy not have it. Oh, did Jaron Hall not have it? You're starting your guys, huh? That's interesting. Well, I got 6 teams on bye. I'm starting them.
Yeah. Right. I mean, what are you gonna do? Bench Addison?
Well, see, this will be a quick, fast evolving situation. So we don't know who's going to play on. It's Tuesday. hopefully by Thursday we know who's playing. We know Lad McConkey is playing much better. He actually kept producing in Quentin Johnston's Week 7 return, Denny, for the Los Angeles Chargers. Is this a potential changing of the guard where Lad is finally reascending to his 2024 status? Or is it just like a blip? Quentin Johnston had a hamstring injury. It was his first game back. Maybe he's being eased in. Maybe they're trying to save some bullets for a short week game.
Right.
How do we make sense of Lad finally having a good game with Quentin Johnston actually in the lineup?
It did seem like they were easing in QJ, as the Zoomers call him. But I do want to note, Lad McConkey dominated air yards. He saw 33% of the air yards. He was top 10 in total air yards on the week. That partly had to do with just insane games. What did Herbert throw for 400 plus yards here? And Lad was targeted on 25% of his routes, which is way higher than a season-long rate. It might be a blip, or it might be the start of something good that makes you feel less bad about taking McConkey where you did in your drafts. This team is so pass heavy now, leading the league in neutral game script, third in pass rate over expected, that you're still starting all three of the receivers. You're still starting QJ, Lad, and Keenan Allen.
Denny, I stopped listening to anything you said. I'm sure it was good.
Thank you.
But we have a commenter here. We're sorry, we don't take questions on the show. You are still allowed to comment. We do read them. Breaking news that I've confirmed: Carson Wentz getting the call Thursday night. Wentz is fine. He's totally fine. Like this is one last job where he's praying he doesn't get shot this time.
Yes.
Or like he's praying the guard doesn't know they're coming, that they haven't been betrayed by someone inside the building. But they've been betrayed. This place is swarming with heat. There's cops everywhere. It's absolutely swarming with heat.
Yeah.
But Carson Wentz, you're easily starting on your Vikings. Well, why do you say so? Carson Wentz. That's
good luck. Good luck to Carson. I will say.
Good luck. I'm sure you said really good stuff on that I didn't want to push back on at all. Did you say anything about Oronde Gadsden? How high is too high for Oronde Gadsden, Denny, who back-to-back 7 catch efforts, 68 yards 2 weeks ago, buck 64, most by any tight end all season by 40. It was the most by a rookie tight end in 40 years. He's drawn at least 7 targets 3 times this year, so more of a floor than people probably realize. Now an established ceiling. Crowded offense, though. How high is too high for Oronde Gadsden?
It can work because of the super giga ultra pass heavy nature of the LA offense. The numbers I just mentioned. But over the past 2 games, Gadsden has run a route on 75% of the team's dropbacks. He's being targeted on 21% of his routes, which is good. It's not great, but it's good considering the target competition in this offense. So I think that it can work. He can work as a weekly starter. Will Dissly has been completely phased out. According to my spreadsheets here, he ran 1 route this past week. So Gadsden has fully taken over. And I think just the kind of boosted play volume and pass volume of this offense means that he's in line for a decent number of targets every week. We can talk about rates all day, but in the end, you want to know about the raw numbers. And like you said, I mean, I think you can kind of pencil him in for like 7 or 8 targets. You can't say that about many tight ends.
No, and this week you get kind of a cop-out where even if you can't truly pencil him in for 6 or 7 targets, despite very well demonstrated ability to do that, you get the cop-out in the form of their 6 teams on bye. Like you basically can't construct week 8 tight end rankings without Oronde Gadsden in the top 12. So if you're wondering like what to do, the answer is this week you just have to start him, and we'll probably get another good game. To a player, we have to keep reminding, like this isn't out of nowhere. Like he was not a highly drafted player, obviously, but he was an immediately hyped and steamed player, both by the media and the coaching staff. He doesn't even really play tight end. He's more of a wide receiver.
Right.
So I feel like it's much more for real than people might assume for something that is felt totally out of nowhere. So you mentioned the giga nuclear ultra pass heavy nature of the Chargers offense, which everyone expected with Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, of course. We've gotten 2 very different Kimani Vidal data points in Omarion Hampton's place. Which is more real, the good game in week 6 or the very, very poor game in week 7?
A little of both. I don't want to say that week 7 was indicative of how he will be for fantasy purposes going forward, because the Chargers were in a horrible spot where they were just chasing points for the better part of 3 quarters here, because they were playing the greatest team ever assembled in the Colts. Vidal, so his route running and his target getting is not great.
Target getting, the word you're looking for there, not to do this to you on air, is of course commanding. Target commanding.
We can edit that in post. He's running 44% of the routes over the past 2 games. Haskins is at 31% of the routes.
Really?
That's not good.
That's not good.
Wow. Like, I would have thought that Vidal would see well over half, but that's not happening. That's not happening. And he's not, not being targeted in the pass game, partly because of the aforementioned competition for targets in this offense. It's fierce. So Vidal is not going to be a guy who can get away with it in negative game script. He only had 9 carries against Indianapolis because of that bad game script, but he has handled 27 of 34 running back rushing attempts over those 2 games where Hampton has been out. So in neutral script and decent script, he's in play for 15 touches. You could do worse. And
again, people are going to get tired of hearing this week. 6 teams on bye. Kimani Vidal.
So many.
I know, so many. After 2 weeks, 2 weeks in a row where we only had 2, 6 seems a bit excessive. But with all those teams not playing, pretty hard to do running back rankings without Kimani Vidal in the top 24.
Yeah.
You will probably be playing Kimani Vidal, even if you very much do not want to. We do not know if you'll be playing Aaron Jones. I have been looking for Aaron Jones updates for weeks, and the aforementioned Vikings media has either not tried or has not been given anything. There's been seriously nothing on Aaron Jones since he went on injured reserve. He is at least now practicing. The short week or whatever, I do not think he'll be back for Thursday night. If this is truly his first practice today, probably more of a week 9 thing. But again, you have to keep checking for updates on Aaron Jones. Probably one more week. Very unsatisfying. Jordan Mason, Xavier Scott committee. Committee's a bit strong. Jordan Mason's still leading it very strongly. But
but Mason is not as involved in the pass game as we would have liked, and so game script sensitive. But so it goes. I mean, who isn't really?
We do not think Aaron Jones will be playing. But again, we do. No one's telling me this. We do think, by the way, that NBA is playing on NBC on Tuesday night. So check that out before you watch your football on Bezos Vision on Thursday. Check out Denny's regression files live Wednesday, right?
It'll be up tomorrow morning. Yep.
The funnel report on Friday, his live chat Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Check out Kyle's waiver wire if you're still making waiver decisions. My rankings come out Thursday. And of course, Denny, Kyle, and I are back with you on Thursday, again, the aforementioned Thursday, to preview the entire Week 8 slate. So for Denny, I'm Pat. Thanks for listening. Talk to you real soon.